Welcome to 7 Days to Die. In this clip, I'm going to show you how to survive the first day on any difficulty level. To be honest, there's not much difference between easy or the hardest difficulty, so long as you follow a few of the tips and tricks, and it'll get you to day 7 without too much hassle. Day 7 on another note is going to be pretty difficult, so yeah. So you'll see that I'm just at the moment searching random bits and pieces like cars and letterboxes and all these sorts of things. They can be some of the best places to find very interesting equipment right at the start. If you can find yourself a good weapon or a good tool to use for a long period of time, it can actually be fantastic to help you get started and actually build up your base fairly strong right at the start. Now, as you can see here, I'm just cutting some grass. I'm looking for a few items, picking up rocks. I'm looking around for anything such as feathers and those sorts of things. They can all be useful as time goes on. At the moment, I'm just looking for a few basic materials, just trying to get enough items to start my crafting. Now, normally when you start in 7 Days to Die, you'll generally start in a fairly safe area. So sometimes there'll be a house, sometimes it'll be a small area that you can sort of wander around in, but you won't see any zombies for a short period of time. So it's important in the first few hours to actually go around and have a look sort of at different things in the vicinity. Now, Alpha 17 allows a bit of a difference. You can actually have a look, and any cupboard that's open or oven that's open or anything like that, it's obvious now that you can't actually interact with it. So it just makes it a little bit faster when searching for items and searching houses and that sort of thing. So that way you can actually bypass anything that you feel you need to. Now, again, I'm still just looking around. There's a lot of useful things in here for future in the game. However, at the moment, because one of the main things is to first look around, make sure you get up somewhere high, have a good vantage point, and that's why I didn't search the entire house. I just did a nice quick look around. Now, the best way to find a good purchase, to find a good place to have a base, is to actually go back, find a tall mountain, climb the top of the mountain, and have a look around. The beauty about Alpha 17 again is the fact that I think they even did this in Alpha 16, is that it allows you to be able to see lots of buildings from a very big distance. Before that, you had to look at roads. In this case, what I'm doing is I'm having a look around for a place to make a base that will be out of the weather, because the snow will get you really cold and you have to eat and drink lots. You have to make sure you got lots of warm clothes. And the desert will ensure that what you have to do is remain covered, make sure you've got hats on, and drink tons of water. So at the moment, I've just put a placement down, and everyone will go to that. And I think that's a pretty important thing to make sure that any of your teammates or any of your allies that you're going to be playing with throughout the whole game, it's important to sort of establish a base, establish an area which is fairly safe and secure. Now, here I've found a small area that is, relatively decent. There's lots of supplies such as trees, cars, a house, a barn. There's corn, there's food, there's lots of searchable things and lots of resources for future. Now, I'm trying to decide between whether I want the 2-story house with a basement or the barn. Both are pretty difficult choices to make because in the barn it's very open, and the house is very closed. So in this, you'll see I go towards the barn and I actually start a base in the barn. And I chose that for strategic reasons, as we'll see later in the crafting side of things. You can see it's quite a large area, it's quite open, and you can actually get up onto the roof there and have a look around at everything that you need. Everything in the area, so that you can sort of see all your resources, or when day 7 comes, or just generally at night time, you can actually establish a place nice and high that you can look out from and just shoot down from, or just watch what's going on, really. Now, it's important that When you are looking around, or you generally do it safely. The reason I didn't kill the hogs there is that they probably would have killed me. I only have a knife and a few basic tools, and none of them are useful for killing animals at the moment. So shortly, I'm going to get a few decent weapons. Now, it's important when you put down a storage chest that you unlock it for everyone, because I've made that mistake before of not unlocking it and expecting everyone else to just be able to get into it, and I was off gallivanting somewhere. But make sure you empty your inventory on a regular basis, as encumbrance is a big problem. Now, when digging for resources, when getting resources, it's very important that the resource that you're mining, you finish. Because if you don't finish the tree or the rock, you'll actually miss out on a lot of beneficial things that you otherwise would have got. In trees, you'll get the seeds, which you can run around and plant later to actually farm a bit of a forest. But it also gives you a bit of a boost to all your resources and that sort of thing. Before, you'd only be getting 2 or 3 from every hit, whereas at the end you tend to get about 20 or 30 or 50 depending on how high your skill levels are. And always go for mature trees. See, the one that I'm taking now has about 900 health, or durability, I suppose. And so in this, in attacking a durable tree, it gives you 2 seeds. So it's actually the most beneficial. It gives you the most when you finish it, and it gives you the most sort of resources out of that. It's also very important to make sure that you have a bedroll and plenty of food. Now, food can be extraordinarily scarce in this game, but at least you can find some around. Now, what I'm doing now is I'm putting down a bedroll, and bedrolls are one of the most important things in the game, because if you don't put down a bedroll, you can start 4, 5, maybe 10 to 15 kilometers away from where your base is. Now, to make a bedroll, that's just plant fibers. That's nice and simple to get, and it's very basic. Even the startup will make it fairly simple, so long as you follow the instructions on the top right hand side. Now, what I'm doing now is, in the area that we've secured for a base, I'm just clearing the area. And you always establish your base off the ground level, whether that's down or up. It doesn't matter too much, but I prefer up because it just allows you to see the zombies that are coming in, and it gives you a good area of sight. So when you clear out windows, when you get onto roofs, it just allows you a lot of extra space to shoot from and maneuver and that sort of thing. Once you get a little bit further in the game, you'll end up, creating holes in walls and all those sorts of things so that you can move around and get around, and you'll start finessing the building a little bit better. You'll get to know your surroundings, and then you'll get to know sort of your traps and where's the best place to shoot from, and all those sorts of things. So again, I'm just trying to create a porthole that allows me to get from one side to the other. And this will just allow us access to the roof pretty much, which I'm going to reinforce and bolster up later in the game. And here I'm just assessing the area, just trying to have a bit of a look around. Okay, now this is something I wanted to show you because mining rocks might seem a little bit silly or a little bit boring, but if you have a look on the lower right hand corner of the screen, it's giving you a little bit of experience, and just there you can see nitrate, coal, and iron ore. Now, iron ore is extremely important because you can actually scrap that really early on in the game. You won't get as much for it as if you put it in a forge or something like that, but it will give you plenty of resources to start with. That allows you to just quickly create like little traps, or allow you to just make a iron reinforced club, which will just help you sort of get through that initial start. I don't know how many times that iron reinforced club, doing more damage than the knives that I find and the club that I have, has saved my life. So just make sure that that is one of the first things you do to bolster up your weapons. And that is how to survive the first day. The next clip I'll release is on fighting techniques.